I was a fitter and turner at Isis Central Sugar Mill at the time, and one of my mates I played touch football with, Paul Wally, he was an auxiliary, and he asked me if I wanted to be an auxiliary firefighter. I said, I don't know anything about that. So I said, oh yeah, I'll give it a go. So it was 2 hours a week, and you got paid bugger all. But yeah, so from then I learned that it's not a bad gig. I think it's probably the team environment. I think more so than anything else. You couldn't have feelings back in those days, so you'd have to go with the flow and give it back, So yeah, it's just that mateship. It's just that mateship, and that comes from that, that banter that carries on, and it's like any team environment, I suppose. Footy teams have it, they have that environment where they give a dig at each other and you get it back. Well, you'd have your chief officer, then you have your deputy chief officer. And under that, you would have a station officers or substation officers back in those days. So, and then you have your crew, so your firefighters. And your firefighters would start off as a C-class firefighter and go right up to A-class firefighter. So when I first started, that's the firefighter rank was C-class to A-class. And then from there, you went to substation officer and then to station officer, then deputy chief sort of thing. So for the firefighter, it was only a small stream of learning. It's a bit like an apprenticeship. You'd have to do exams every year and pass those exams to keep going, and increments in pay used to reflect each year when you got through your exam. So I went through and got through to A-class firefighter, and then one day one of the station officers says, oh, you should go for your station officers, substation officers exams. And I got appointed as a station officer. It changed then because of the board changing, and the rank structure changed a little bit too. So I became a station officer in 1997 at Bundaberg. And then in 2010 I was asked to, if I wanted to do the training portfolio for North Coast region. And I talked to my wife, and it was a lot of travelling because it was based in Maryborough. So I then became the manager of professional development. I did acting for 6 months, and then I got appointed as an inspector, and then that role as manager of professional development for the whole of North Coast region, which runs from Caloundra up to Gingin out west to Kingaroy. So yeah,
all right.
So I look after all the training for every firefighter, all the staff, administration staff, everything. It entailed me coordinating all the training for all of our staff throughout the North Coast region. So it would be officer development training, first aid training, hazmat training, the whole lot, administration training, like doing stuff for computers and all that sort of stuff. So I'd have to coordinate that for everybody. I'd do a planner for the whole year, a calendar, and we'd sit down in March, April, and then start that for the next financial year, and away we'd go. And when I came in, there wasn't much. The training department was one of those areas that was just sort of left there and it ticked along, whereas when I came through, we did, with my team, I had professional development officers under me. I had 5 of them and an admin, and then from there we just put this whole new plan in place. I did three years in training, and then I got the role as inspector in Bundaberg, where I looked after the Bundaberg area, because I knew a lot of the guys, and they knew me and they knew who I was, and I work with them, probably 80% of them. So that part of it was the easy part, coming back to all the guys you used to put shit on and have banter with, so that was the easy part. Trying to see whether they'd take notice of me as their boss was probably some things, especially the older guys, That was, I didn't know how that had happened, but it worked out really well. 2013, it was just when I started back in Bundaberg as an inspector. So I had about 10 days off. I was in hospital for a week. I got pneumonia, and I was just come back to work that week, and it was bushfires. It was amazing. It was bushfires leading up to the Wednesday, and then on the Sunday it was hell to play. So the flood within bushfires 4 days before. Yeah. We were fighting bushfires 4 days before. Well, the interesting part of it is we couldn't do it from the fire station because it got flooded. So we actually had to move everything. We had to move everything out, and we went to the airport and coordinated from there. And so that was an interesting aspect on its own, taking everything out and not responding from the fire station because it was underwater down the bottom end. When I retired, and I knew it was time for me to retire, I felt it, 34 and a half years. I don't miss the job itself, going to fires, and I had some good times going to fires, don't get me wrong, but I don't miss that part of it. And then, when I become inspector, the pressure that's put on inspectors and to coordinate and all that sort of stuff was immense, especially in emergency incident times. But I missed the guys the most. I missed the people.